going to be showing you guys how to play Celestial by Ed Sheeran on the guitar. So stay tuned if this is something that you'd like to learn. But really quick before we jump into the tutorial, I wanted to take a second to thank today's sponsor, Enya Music. I will actually be using their Nova Go carbon fiber travel guitar in this video today. And if you are watching this the day it's released or the day after, they are having a sale on this on Amazon, and you can get 20% off all of their Nova Go guitars. So I will make sure to put the details of that in the description box down below, as well as link it in this iCard right up here. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. Alright guys, so I am going to label this as more of a beginner / intermediate song, mostly because of the strumming, but first of all, let's talk about our guitar. You will need it to be in standard tuning, and you do not need a capo to play the song in its original key. I only have 4 chords to show you today for the whole song. However, one of them is a bar chord, which is B minor, which is what skews this kind of more towards the intermediate level player. And I also have 3 strumming patterns to show you today, and I'm going to show them to you from like easiest to hardest, so you can kind of build your skills up to, you know, what I would suggest. But with all of that being said, let's go ahead and start the tutorial off with the chords. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead and zoomed in a little to take a closer look at these chords. Like I said, there are only 4 to play through the whole song, and we're going to start with our G, which looks like this and sounds like this. And by the way, if you don't know how to read these chord charts that you're seeing on screen, I do cover how to do that in my beginner series episode 3, so I will make sure to link that right here for those of you who need it. The next chord is our bar chord, which is B minor. After that, you need to know your D chord. And the last chord is our A chord. And those are the only 4 chords to play through this song. Alright guys, so like I always say, if you are new to guitar, make sure to pause the video right now and take a few moments to memorize those chord shapes, as well as practice transitioning back and forth between them. One of the best things about this song is that the order that I just showed you those chords in, G, B minor, D, and A, is actually the chord progression for the entire song. So as long as you can be really sufficient in like transitioning in this order, you should be able to play through the whole song no problem. So make sure to take the time to do that. But once you have, we can go ahead and talk a little bit more about the strumming. Alright guys, I'm going to start you off with the easiest strumming pattern, which is strumming pattern 1, and as you can see, it's just a single down strum, and you want to do that for every chord change. This is going to be really great for those of you who struggle with rhythm or are new to strumming, things like that. It's also a great way for those of you who want to sing and play the guitar to kind of get used to the song and where those transitions are. So let's go ahead and bring up the chorus here on screen so I can kind of just show you how this would look. So basically all you want to do is go through the entire song, sing through it, and then change those chords whenever they change. So for example, with the chorus, you make me feel like my troubled heart is a million miles away. Alright, basically just like that through the entire song. Just make sure you're really familiar with what word you're singing whenever those chords are transitioning. That'll make learning these other strumming patterns so much easier. And this is actually something you can do right now if you visit my Patreon page. I do have this entire guide available right now so you can print it out and practice through it. But once you've done that, let's go ahead and talk about strumming pattern 2. Alright guys, so we're stepping it up a notch for strumming pattern 2. However, it's still not that hard. As you can see, it's just down, up, mute, down, and it's going to sound like this. So a closer breakdown of how that pattern works is, let's go ahead and put our G chords on. What you want to do is strum down, and then on your way back up, you want to take the side of your strumming hand and just kind of mute the string. So you're going down, up, mute. So as you're going up, you just circle back around and mute those strings. Down, up, mute. All right, really quick, that whole action. So then you just follow it up with another down strum. So the whole thing goes like this. Down, up, mute, down. And you're going to let that last down ring. Down, up, mute, down. Down, up, mute, down. All right, and that's the whole pattern. So again, you just want to play this pattern one time through for each of those chords. So let's go ahead and put the chord progressions up on screen. For your G chord, you're going to go down, up, mute, down. Then you go to your B minor chord, down, up, mute, down. Then D, down, up, mute, down. And then A, down, up, mute, down. All right. And if this is kind of where you are and able to handle with your rhythm, then this can be applied for the entire song. Let's go ahead and bring up the chorus again so I can kind of show you how that goes together. So again, you're going G, B minor, to D, to A. You make me feel like my troubled heart is a million miles away. repeat that over. Like I said earlier, you could apply this for the entire song and it would sound pretty good. One other thing I wanted to show you is if this is kind of more where you're comfortable with rhythm, another thing that you could do to easily dress this up is just kind of repeat that down, up, mute pattern. So instead of just down, up, mute, down, you would do it twice. So down, up, mute, down, up, mute, down. All right, so see how we're kind of just repeating that first half again? Down, up, mute, down, up, mute, down, down, up, mute, down, up, mute, down. All right, so if you can do it once, you can definitely do it twice. So that's just kind of a way to fill in some of that space. So if you were to double it up, the whole thing would sound like this. We've got G to B minor, to D, to A. And again, you could repeat that for the entire song as well. It sounds pretty good and it like kind of fills in all of that space. However, the strumming pattern that I would suggest you try out that sounds the most like the original song is going to be the third strumming pattern. So let's go ahead and talk about strumming pattern 3. All right guys, so this last strumming pattern is going to be the most challenging rhythmically, and as you can see, it's down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up, and the whole thing's going to sound like this. So that speed that I just did the rhythm at is about the speed that you want to be able to eventually play this song at to match Ed Sheeran's song. However, let's go ahead and just slow it down a bit to kind of break it up a little bit more. And this pattern, you just want to play one time for each chord. So on our G chord, let's go ahead and break this down. We have down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up. So you can kind of hear how we're holding out those down strums. Down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up. All right? So let's go ahead and do that for a few measures, and I want you to jump in and try to match this strumming pattern with me. Down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up. We're just staying on our G chord, trying to get used to this rhythm. Down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up. So if you need a little bit more practice, make sure to rewind and just practice that part over and over again until you really internalize that rhythm. And then once you have it down, what we want to do now is add in those chord transitions. So let me go ahead and put those on screen. Again, remember you're just doing this whole pattern through one time for each chord. So on G we have down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up. To our B minor, down, up, down, up, up, down, down, up. To D, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. To A, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Nice. So once you get that rhythm down, all you want to do now is speed it up until you can get it at full tempo. Now, fair warning, this song does move really quickly. So I think one of the most challenging parts of this song is being able to play this strumming pattern at the original tempo. However, with enough practice, you should totally be able to get there. So eventually at full tempo, it'll sound more like this. So much faster. However, I promise if you put in that practice time, it'll get a lot more natural for you. And so once you can get it at tempo, this is actually the strumming pattern that I think sounds the most like how Ed Sheeran plays it in his actual song. So you could apply this for the entire thing if you wanted to. However, the last thing I wanted to show you is how you can add a palm mute to kind of make it sound more percussive, a little bit more rhythmic. And this is a really great way to kind of dress up your guitar without really changing anything. So with the palm mute, all I'm doing is taking the side of my hand here and resting it really gently on my strings, close to where the bridge is. And so now when you strum, you can kind of hear how it has that more percussive, like drummy kind of sound. So it doesn't ring out as much, and that's perfect because that's a really good way for you to distinguish between like different parts of the song. So the way that I would use this is to palm mute like the verses and the pre-choruses and then let the choruses ring, and that'll make the guitar part sound a lot more interesting and just a lot more fun to jam on. Let's go ahead and just bring up the chorus another time, and I'll show you how you can put all of this together to play through that chorus. 1, 2, ready, go. G, minor, and then would keep going like that as well. Like I said, if you wanted to add in that palm mute, I do think it sounds really good with the verses. So let me go ahead and put up verse 1 just to give you an example. So remember, the chords and the strumming pattern are exactly the same. All we're doing is adding that palm mute. So that'll sound more like this. G, B minor, D, A. I see the light shining through the rain, 1,000 colors in a brighter shade. Needed to rise from the lowest place. There's a silver lining that surrounds the prey. And then you would just keep going. So again, this last strumming pattern I think is definitely the most applicable to this song. So if you can practice your way up there and make sure you get those rhythms down, then you can play it for the entire song. But with all that said, let me go ahead and show you how I put this all together by playing through the song. So let's go ahead and jump into the playthrough. Celestial. 1, 2, ready, go. See tonight, it could go either way. Hearts balanced on a razor blade. We are designed to love and break, and to rinse and repeat it all again. I get stuck when Want to have fun jamming to the rest of the song with me? Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this as well as all my other fast track and play along tutorials. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description box down below as well as in this iCard right up here. Alright guys, but that ends my tutorial, so thank you so much for watching. If it helped you, make sure to give me a thumbs up down below as well as subscribe to my channel. That way you never miss out on any other new tutorials. Another thank you goes out to Enya Music for sponsoring today's video. If you are interested in checking out their carbon fiber travel guitars, make sure to take advantage of that sale that's going on for the next 48 hours. I'll have all the links and details in the description box down below. I want to give a special shout out to all of my top patrons over on my Patreon page. I will have all of their names listed on screen right now, as well as a huge thank you to all of my patrons for supporting my channel and making videos just like this one possible. You guys are awesome. Here are my social media sites in case you'd like to follow me on any of those. That's just where I do fun things like behind the scenes looks at things coming up. I'll pull you guys on what you want to learn next, and I'll even do giveaways on there a few times a year, so make sure to check it out. But that ends the video today, so thank you so much for watching. I really hope that it helped, and I will see you in my next one coming out really soon.